Uncertainty is a constant for investors, but many investors feel like that uncertainty is heightened today between shifting economic data, stock market volatility, and just broader geopolitical unrest. Most investors are asking, what comes next? How do we prepare for 2025 and beyond? My name is John Shanley. I'm sitting here with my colleague Josh Sweeney, and we're here to share some of our perspective on the current marketplace. The first thing we'd like to show is a chart here that really reiterates that feeling of uncertainty is justified. This chart is the Economic Policy Uncertainty Index, and as you can see, the chart is at an all-time high. We haven't seen this high since the COVID crash of 2020. So businesses, investors, policymakers are all facing an immense amount of uncertainty. So with this backdrop, Josh, would love to hear your perspective on the current marketplace and things that we're looking out for in the year ahead.
Absolutely. So whenever you have a new political administration come into its first year in term, you do expect some increased volatility. And that's really just uncertainty around policies, geopolitical relations, things like that. But candidly, 2025 really has moved a bit quicker than expected. You've had some back and forth on tariffs and trade wars that have gone under consideration. We've had industries being hurt that have those global supply chains, and some fears about will inflation come back if we do see some of these tariffs go into effect. We've also seen geopolitical instability when you really have a couple of conflicts that have gone back and forth on how they're progressing over the last few years. And as well, you're seeing some rapid restructuring of the U.S. government, which really the effects are yet to be seen. So while things are a little bit crazy, you still do have an outlook of some positive pro-business policies. That's the corporate tax reform that we heard quite a bit about before the election. So as we look at all of this, it's really difficult, but we want to be patient. Let some of these short-term trends play out and see how they impact some of those long-term goals that we have within the portfolios.
That's wonderful, Josh. It seems like the message is uncertainty in and of itself isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? We need to think about the future and be ready to act. But as of right now, we do not want to let short-term volatility impact how we manage our portfolios. One last slide that we wanted to show, which Josh shows us on the investment committee quite a bit, and I find it to be incredibly valuable. This chart is going to look at the the annual returns of the S&P 500 all the way back to 1980. You're going to see on that chart these little red dots. That is the intra-year drawdown of the S&P 500 each and every year. It has been a wonderful time to be a U.S. investor, but you have to live, unfortunately, with periods of volatility from time to time. We don't always know what that's going to be, but we do know that we can prepare for these types of volatile environments. We really believe that our job as financial planners and wealth managers is to prepare, but not necessarily predict. We want to prepare your financial plan and let that lead your investment portfolio. Like always, thank you so much for your trust in us. If there are questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to your advisory team.